Hello everyone, I hope that you are doing well, and in today's video I am going to be discussing about why I cover my head. So the first thing I want to mention is the main reason I do this is because it is in scripture and it is biblical reasoning behind it, and so it talks about in 1 Corinthians about head covering, and in this video I'm not going to specifically decipher what that means and what the context of it all is. For me, I believe in what I believe, and this video is just going to be more about my experience and what I have been through. So I did mention that I am not going to specifically talk about the whole verse, but I do want to mention a couple. So the one is 1 Corinthians 11:3. But I want you to realize that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is man, and the head of Christ is God. So this right here is part of the scripture that talks about all about head covering. And so for me, this makes me believe that He is in control, that God is the head of all. And so for me, wearing this head covering is as if a symbol not only for other people to, understand that I am a believer, but also for God to realize that I understand who is ahead of who. And so also because that I am with somebody, I believe that they are ahead of me as well. And so being able to understand that as a woman, you came from man, and that we're here to help men and help the one that we call our significant other, our husbands. I believe that that is exactly how God had intended for us to be, and that's how He had created us. And so it talks about in the beginning in Genesis how a woman came out of a man's rib cage, and so they talk a little bit more about that right here, 1 Corinthians 11:8. For man did not come from woman, but woman from man. Neither was man created for woman, but woman for man. And so, like how I said, for me, that makes me believe that having this on gives me a reason to be humble, and for me to understand my position as a holy woman or a woman of God. So, I don't feel oppressed. I don't feel anything negative. The most negative thing that for me was being concerned of what other people were going to think of me doing this. And it's one of those things where, as a believer, we shouldn't be concerned about other people. We should be concerned about what God thinks and what His perspective of it is. And for me, learning that head covering is a very biblical thing, it made me even more intrigued in it in the first place. So yes, the most first important thing I want to mention that is I do wear this because I believe that how it is written in scripture that women should wear it. Now, am I saying all women should do it, and if you don't, then this and that? No, I don't technically care so much of what other people are doing. It's more about knowing what is your way, is your path. Because if you're gonna get a bunch of people around you telling you what you should or shouldn't do, I just feel like you're never gonna truly understand, what's actually in the Bible, and to be able to decipher it yourself. And so another way that I have been able to understand it better is I have this book, and it talks about head covering. And this is from the people who are part of the head covering movement. And they have like an Instagram page. I think they even have a YouTube channel. And they essentially are people who are talking about how even in modern times that it can still be applicable, that it is still necessary. And it's a book where it says in the beginning, like, you kind of got to have an open mind and open heart when you go to read this, especially if you're very against it or you just think it's weird or crazy. This book is probably not going to be a good take for you. But if you want to understand a little bit more, or maybe you want to get into it for yourself and you're just not sure how, or you're confused about it still, then I would recommend to first really understand the scripture for yourself, and also know that this is a relationship between you and God. This has nothing to do with, oh, well, my church told me this, or, oh, well, other people around me say that this is weird and I shouldn't do it. Like, it doesn't really matter, because if this is something that is like almost a conviction, or just something that you feel like you can't shake it off, and this is something that you want to do, then you should do it. And you should be okay with choosing things that are different from other people. And I also want to talk about the other reason, which is, I guess you could just say, vanity. Me having a real problem with my appearance, thinking that I'm not of a certain beauty standard, and just having a very low self-esteem and judging myself. And I just remember like growing up and being in high school and just having a lot of judgment towards myself with the way that I look, my hairstyles, the way that I chose different clothing, and just the fashion trends that I was going and down the path of. It was not all, me. Like, I wasn't really happy about any of it, because at the end of the day, it was like a chase, as if I'm trying to chase myself down the path of like these standards of beauty that it's just a bunch of trends and fads, and they just go away, and they just end a couple years later, or even just within that year. And yeah, so like growing up, I was really fixated on my hair. If you remember me back in high school, then you will probably remember I dyed my hair a lot. I used to dye my hair a bunch of different colors, and I used to cut it and have all these different styles. I was always like changing my hair and doing a bunch of stuff to my hair. And yeah, not only is it bad because it's damaging, it's very damaging, especially if you dye your hair a different color. You're more than likely having to put like bleach in your hair, as if like you have to have like a white canvas, as if before you put a bunch of colors in your hair, or else it's like, if you got blonde or orange hair, it messes it up. But anyway, I just know that like I was so fixated on it at one point where I believed that if my hair didn't look good, then I didn't look good, or if I didn't wear a certain type of clothing that was very trendy or just fashionable, then I wasn't, part of the community of people who have, I guess are popular in school or whatever you want to call it. And so I guess I was very wanting to be, I guess, the cool kid, if you want to quote it like that. And I started realizing that that wasn't healthy at all, and it took me some years after high school to like really fully understand that. A lot of peer pressure, you compare yourself to a lot of people, and it's just so unhealthy. It's just so bad for you. And so when I really was starting my journey, becoming Christian and a believer and reading the Bible, the one verse that really got to me was the head covering, because I had thought, there's no way I could do it, that I would judge myself and I would be so harsh on myself about it, that I would believe that I wouldn't look pretty, or that I wouldn't, look like other people, and I wouldn't relate, and whatever excuse I had, right? So like there was always in the back of my head like an issue about it. And because of how problematic I was making it for myself, I kind of was thinking, well, then just do it. Well, then why don't you just do it then? And then, I'm like, well, I don't know, that's scary. I don't know if I want to do that. And then I'm thinking to myself, like, well, if you don't try it, you'll never know. And so I did. I bought my head covering, and I went out in public and I wore it. And I think the first time I ever wore it was I was walking our dog, and I was just walking in the neighborhood, walking the dog, and even that was scary for me. Like the feeling of judgment from other people, I think, is something that really needed to dissolve, right? Like that was something that I needed to stop. And I believed that doing this was going to not only help that, but was going to help me with not wanting to like focus on trends so much, right? Because I look at this as kind of like it will probably never go out of style, it's kind of timeless in a way, where people were doing it then, people were doing it now, and I believe people will probably continue to do it in the future. So I don't think this is something that's ever going to, fade. But that doesn't matter. I think what the point I'm trying to make is like, regardless of whatever fads is happening, this is the appearance that I want. I want to be, an image of how God sees me. So I want to be able to dress to impress God, right? I want to be able to wear things modestly and have my appearance be for Him, not for a bunch of people to compliment me, or to take photos of and put it on social media. Like, that's not the point. And when you're young, I think a lot of people fell into that position. So it's cool to see like how much I've changed over the years, because like if you were to have told me some years ago, like, this is what I was going to wind up doing, I probably wouldn't believe it. So I'm just like really happy that I was able to get over that fear. Okay, I think that is going to be all. I don't want to get into too much detail, because I feel like there's a lot that I could say about it. So I don't know, if this is something that you're curious about, or you want to know more, then let me know, because maybe I will make another video about it. But for now, this is something that I have been doing. I want to say, I think it's been about a year now. I'll have to check and see one of the photos that I had posted on Instagram, because I think that was the first time that I ever wore it when I shared about it. So yeah, I'll probably put that information somewhere on the screen if I do find it. But yeah, so it's been a while since I've been wearing it, and I have to say that I, you know, feel fine. I don't think there's anything like too different about me. I do think that it's a practice like that you have to get yourself into, you know, like if this is your first time doing it, or if you're not really sure about it. I do believe that it might take some time to like get used to overall. So yeah, that is all for this video, and if you enjoyed it, please let me know. That'd be great, just so that I have an idea. And yeah, if you want to know more about it, go ahead and let me know about that as well. And if you have a journey that is similar to mine, or you're new at it, then go ahead and share yours down below, because this is something that maybe some people are nervous about talking about, or maybe they're nervous to start. So I feel like bringing the discussion about it and talking about it can help people just become more okay with it, and, you know, just be open for discussion. So thank you again. I will see you in the next video. Have a great rest of your week, and bye-bye.